Welcome to another episode of Chode House. With you as always is Ethan, D, and Snow. Thank you for listening tonight. We're going to take it a little bit lighter. We got pretty heavy last week.
We're going to ease back.
And the week before. We're going to ease it back, baby.
This is your easy listening station, taking you
this
down the rosy train back to your childhood.
Dreamers
back
and
to the good old
creamers out
days.
there. Yeah. Taking
So
it back.
what are we gonna what's our laid back topic tonight? Are we gonna talk about My Little Pony?
MMO.
I've got a new. Oh
games.
yeah, MMO. I knew that. Yeah, definitely knew it was MMO night. Not My Little Pony.
He said My Little Pie MMO.
MMOrpg. For those of you not in the know, it's a video game. It's a video game. It's video.
Because we vid you a little bit.
We video a little bit.
The Chode House crew.
Yeah.
Been known to vid you.
Yeah. It's good times too. I love video games, man.
What's your favorite MMO? Because I can't claim that I was one of the people. You know, usually when I've had this topic come up, just talking to folks throughout my life, it's always like, oh, I started out with EverQuest, and I did play EverQuest 2 because it was a Christmas gift, but my parents didn't know I had a subscription, so I only played for like a couple of months, and my computer could barely run it, so it wasn't an enjoyable experience.
Shut it down, .jpg, huh?
Yeah, well, I think so. It was one of those things. I got it when World of Warcraft came out, right? And I wanted World of Warcraft, but if you remember back in like 2003, I think 2003 when it came out, it was sold out everywhere because it was still physical copies. You couldn't get it online, and you couldn't find it. Like it was just sold out. So my parents got me this, and they're like, "Well, you know." Kind of thought it was, and I mean, to their credit, they did a decent job.
Thing.
It's not, you know, it's better than them buying like, you know, I don't know, some random sports game. Like it's the same thing. So I played it for a little while, but WoW is definitely the only one I've got experience with. It was I counted as my first. What about y'all?
Yeah, WoW for sure. When I was I worked as a 911 dispatcher for a time. And
that explains some things.
I worked the night shift, and it was me and there's like 3 other people in there. Small town, there weren't that many dispatchers because I mean there wasn't that much shit going on. Population wise, you know, didn't need more than 4. But anyways, there, you know, like there'd be hours, nothing would happen. You know, I mean, thank goodness. I'm not saying
right. That's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. There was a guy in there, and he'd bring his laptop in. I was like, oh shit. Well, I guess I'm bringing my laptop in.
Party
too.
at dispatch.
Yeah, and he'd bring his laptop in. He had a pretty beefy laptop, and he'd play WoW while I was in there. And you know, I was watching him play, and I was like, damn, it looks fun. And so I bought a copy, and that was it. Played pretty regularly for addiction. Played pretty regularly for a long time. I played up through I guess it was the 4th. Well, no, see, there was Sadly,
Wrath of the Lich King was the 3rd one. Cataclysm was the 4th one.
Cataclysm was the 4th one. Yeah, so that was when I dropped off, was Cataclysm. Wrath of the Lich King was you know, by and large the best in my opinion. That was vanilla through Wrath of the Lich King was the heyday in my opinion of WoW, and that's when I played. But I mean, you know, some people came in later and they probably say that that's the heyday. But it's just when, you know, I got into it and had a bunch of friends that played, met a bunch of people, and the guild I was in, we actually met up, like IRL, and
oh Lord,
yeah,
we went real deal stuff.
Yeah, we all went camping. And,
oh shit!
Yeah, some dude got a blowjob.
From a dude?
I was about to say.
No, from some like fat
from
chick.
The one girl that came with, right?
The one girl.
Look.
The one girl.
Lord of mercy.
Well, that's you, D. Was it WoW
I
for you too?
can't. Yeah, WoW was my intro to MMORPG, I guess, because us growing up, like I didn't get a computer. Didn't have a computer until doggone what I was like 13, 14, something like that, and then maybe it was a little younger, but even then, it's like we didn't really have the internet for everything was dial up where I lived. Funny where I
Oh
used to
yeah.
live, it is still dial up. There's no change whatsoever. Um, but yeah, it was wow. Whenever it was after I got married because let's see, my wife she played WoW like mad through. I think she started in Burning Crusade. I actually have a funny memory of because I got in on like late Burning Crusade, and then I remember going to a Babbage's, or it was either EB Games or Babbage's, like for a midnight release of Lich King.
Yeah. I went for a midnight release for BC and Lich King at EB as well. We had an EB
Yeah,
up here.
yeah, and that was something else, man. They had a whole event, people
Yeah, people dress
cosplaying.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The manager he had like a little mini stage, and he had a microphone. Are you ready? Let me hear the horde, and everybody's for the horde. It was so much energy and hype for it, man. It was pretty cool. It was an interesting culture. I mean, now some of that's still there, I guess, at like conferences and Comic Con and stuff like that, but not that local stuff not anymore because everything's distributed and digital only and so on and
Right.
so forth.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah,
that was fun.
I enjoyed vanilla because it was a cool game. Like it was new to me, right? Because like I said, I did a
Yeah,
little bit of EverQuest 2, but my experience was so poor with it that it didn't really do. I don't remember any of it, and so getting into WoW was basically a clean slate, and I had fun. I played it with a couple of friends, but it was really hard and grindy. Like people that say vanilla wasn't hard are just dumb. They're trying to flex. It was a difficult
oh, they
game.
flexing.
It was built around a grind, and it almost made me quit a few times because it wasn't that it was difficult in the sense of like Dark Souls, you die every 2 seconds. It was difficult in the sense of I'm gonna grind that South Park joke. I'm gonna kill boars for 6 hours to get this one
hmm
level. And I remember hitting 60 in I think Eastern Plaguelands or Western, one of the two. I know it was Plaguelands. I was playing a paladin. It was my very first character. I remember hitting 60, and I was excited, but then I was like, there was this overwhelming. Thank God I'm fucking done leveling. And so vanilla
Now I
was
can play the
fun,
real game.
right? It's just vanilla was. I have good memories of it, but for me, it didn't really get fun until BC. BC got really fun. They made some quality of life improvements. It was still very grindy, but I feel like the game took off for me there. And then Lich King, I have a lot of fond memories for him. We raided a lot. And I have fond memories for the recent ones too, or kind of recent. I played Legion. I played Mist of Pandaria and raided. Everyone hated it because pandas. I thought it was fun. I thought the location was really cool. I played Legion. Thought it was really fun. Did raids. The most recent one I played a little bit of and fell off just because of real life commitments. I couldn't keep up with it. But I've had fun throughout the franchise. I feel like uh, Blizzard does a lot of dumb things. Well, in my opinion, I feel like they have some shitty business practices allegedly and all this shit. But I feel like for what they have, the fact that people still play their franchise and it's 2 decades later says something.
Mm-hmm.
What it says,
hmm
I don't know,
Oh.
but it says something.
Oh, they're doing a lot of things right. They're doing a lot of things wrong. But just like you said, there's still not as many as there were, but there's still a lot of people throwing money at them, buying
right.
everything they put out, and
They
still
set the
subbing.
fucking standard. They
They
set the
really
Yep.
standard.
did, and they kind of screwed it up for everybody because now it's like there's a golden standard that is WoW,
Yeah,
and
Right.
and like even
everything is based off, or everything is compared to WoW. So
yeah, everything
yeah,
you're the de facto standard. If you can at least do it as good as WoW does it, then you're probably gonna die
right.
off
Well,
in
and that's
not
that's
too
what's
long.
funny is because no one it's not even a real standard, right? It's the standard of WoW plus nostalgia. And so if you were
Oh yeah,
competing, if you
Mm,
could compete against the product fairly, I don't know how you could, but let's pretend you could take nostalgia completely out of it. I
hmm
bet, maybe there's been an MMO that competes, or maybe there may be multiple, who knows? But you're not only competing with a really good product, let's give credit where credit's due. Like we've all said, it's really good. It's a good product. But you're not only competing with that, but they were kind of not first to the block because EverQuest was, but they were first to the mainstream block. And there's all this nostalgia for decades. And so, how do you beat that until WoW shuts down? Like, how do you beat that?
Right. But people keep going back to it because, oh man, I'm ready to get back into WoW. I'm gonna play.
That's it right there. I miss
Yeah.
WoW.
I miss
I want to
WoW.
I want to go play WoW.
No one says I miss, fucking. Well, I mean, I'm sure someone, if we ever get, the 3,000 people that are going to listen to this, and the first minute it drops, I'm sure, get hate mail. But there's definitely people out there that, like, I remember a game called City of Heroes. It was an MMO. It's like a superhero MMO, and for sure there are cult followings around those. Like, oh, I wish I could play City of Heroes, or I want to go play Knights of the Old Republic, or blah 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 blah. Yeah, that exists, but not to the degree of, man, it's time to get back into WoW.
Oh, I forgot about the Old Republic. That's I'm sorry.
That
Go
was
ahead.
that was no, it was no, I was done. I was just saying, like, I was agreeing with you guys. Like, there's always people that return to their MMO if it's still live, no matter what it is. But WoW
Right.
has that constant pullback, and I think they do, even though it pisses off the quote unquote elites. I think they do a great job of giving people a reason to come back and a way, even if it's paying, whether it's buying a character boost or not buying one and using like heirloom gear and the way they've compressed the leveling experience.
Yeah.
You can come back into WoW and you can get to the current content within even if you don't spend money, let's say a couple of weeks, and that's still a time investment, but that's a
Yeah.
fairly casual couple of weeks compared to
Yeah.
other MMOs. If you tried to come to those and go from base game to like Final Fantasy,
Oh,
base
dude,
game to
I was
latest
just about to say
expansion,
it.
Yeah, Final
yeah,
Fantasy.
Oh my
like,
goodness.
I know
tried-
you were. I brought it up because you were going through it. I've not even done it, but you went through base to current, right?
I have not even made it to current yet, dude.
Oh, really?
And it's
Yes,
been
I'm
months,
over
right?
100 hours in, and it's
Yeah,
like,
see, that's
come
insane.
on, dude.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably
yeah.
somebody out there that's gonna be like, "Well, you're not doing it right." Yeah, I know.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not good at. I'm not. I like them. But I'm not good at them. You see,
Right.
it's just it is a severe grind to get to the current content, which I don't understand because it's just like, look, I don't. Can you give me the short version
Right.
of and you know what made me mad about Final Fantasy is I go through the base game. There's a couple characters they put in there, and the big twist was, or the big twist is like right towards, not spoiler alert here. I'm not going to name names, but spoiler alert. It's like they bring in a character right there towards the end of the base game, and then they kill him off, and that's the big, oh my god. It's like I did not care about this character at all because you just brought them in.
Well, see, that's what's weird. So let me pause you for a second because maybe you can elaborate. I've heard the reason I tried Final Fantasy, the MMO. So the Final Fantasy series, let's be distinct here. I love the series, but the MMO specifically,
Yes,
right? I
14,
tried it.
or 15?
I tried it. 14. You're right.
14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah,
14.
Yes. I like it, or I tried it rather, because I heard the story was really good. And there were parts of it that I guess were okay, but I kind of quit on it after a while. So you're saying that one of the things you don't like is that there was, for a game that's heralded as the story MMO experience,
Right.
that
It's
they just it completely fell flat.
yeah. For me, it did. Maybe it's because I'm emotionally stunted and couldn't relate. I don't know, but it was just like, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just bad voice actors. I can't help it.
I don't remember what level I made it to, which it's been a few months since I played it. But it was, I mean, it had its pluses for sure.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see the draw. But I'm the same way. I wasn't that drawn into the story as I thought that I would be. There were a couple of cool moments that in the story as far as I'd made it. But I wasn't just like, I wasn't beating my fucking meat, going through the dialogue and shit.
The coolest moments for me were the moments that I could relate back to the other games in the Final Fantasy series. I'm like, oh, that's such and such from this other
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, and they did a little nod to that. It's like, oh, that's cool, and it was that stuff for me that made it entertaining. I mean, I like the mechanics, I like the gameplay, I love the weapon system. I think all that's great. No problems there. But if we're just going to say strictly the story, it was those nods to the earlier Final Fantasy games that made it like, I see what you did there. I'm old and I played all these games when I was a kid. I remember that character.
So the nostalgia pull was the
That a
best.
Yeah,
little bit of that
best
yeah,
part
nostalgia
for
a little
you.
bit
pull,
of that
right?
nostalgia
Yep.
pull. I definitely like the way that they did the classes in that game, and
Mm-hmm.
how you could keep your character. You could spend some time doing this shit, and then you could switch weapons and
Yep.
level up as
Yep.
um a different class. And I mean, it was cool. It seemed more fluid as far as being able to switch your class is concerned. Like,
Right.
and they had gear set up and everything, like saved gear loadouts. And that,
Yep.
I mean, that was cool.
Yep. Brilliant.
Yeah. So it definitely has its pluses. As far as the gameplay is concerned for Final Fantasy, I thought that it was a little better than WoW. I'm gonna be honest. The best MMO gameplay that I've experienced so far has been Terra.
Oh.
I never played that, but a good friend of mine got real into it for like 100 hours. He burnt out, but he really, for whatever reason, he really liked it. I looked at it, but I never thought I'd like the gameplay, like the whole flight mechanic.
Yeah, but the combat in that game it was so cool to me, the way they did it. There was no real like tab targeting. You had to aim your shit. You had to get your strikes right, or you just failed.
I mean, that's a decent idea.
Yeah, it's an action MMOrpg. So, and I'm really down with that, because I mean, it certainly is not like Dark Souls, but man, if we could get an MMO with Dark Souls combat, I'd be
Well,
so
see,
down with that.
allegedly, that's what New World was supposed to be. And that,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
incidentally, I do like New World's combat. I do like it.
Sorry, I think you mean berry picking simulator.
Yes,
2021.
right now it
Oh.
is it is my cooking simulator stream. But I do love gathering and fucking crafting, and I can't help it. I'm one of those people. I do like gathering and crafting. I don't like
I'm
going
kind of
around and having to kill stuff so much.
I'm kind of weird, or it's odd for it's gonna not make a lot of sense maybe, but bear with me. So I honestly Final Fantasy's combat, the MMO piece, I always felt like it lagged, and I don't know how to describe that. I don't literally mean latency spikes. It wasn't latency, but I never felt like my actions and how they synced up with the game world and the combat were fully aligned. It just never seemed as fluid as WoW, and maybe
You
that's a
know,
design choice. I don't know,
I agree. I agree.
but
And for me, it's because whenever like a strike or a spell effect or whatever it was that hit the enemy, there was no recoil. There was nothing. It was
Right.
just it just
Yeah.
yeah,
it
maybe that's
was
what it is. Maybe it's the lack of
Yeah.
feedback. Maybe
that's what I
maybe
felt
that's how I
about it.
interpreted it.
Right.
Um, I get so on to piggyback onto that real quick. I actually don't like action MMO combat as much, and the reason I don't is because it's always weighted stats plus action. And in single player games, that doesn't bother me. Like in Dark Souls, to use that example, you have a weapon that does X damage. You have to hit with that weapon. You have to there's skill, there's dexterity, but there's also in the background there's a stat roll going on, and that's very common in a lot of games. That's okay. That's how games work. But in an MMO, for some reason, I feel like they always use that to cheat you because they want that grind to be there. They want the progression for gear is one of the main parts of almost every MMO, gear progression.
Sure.
And I would rather have something that's unapologetically a random ass dice roll, like WoW. I mean, let's be honest, there's not a lot of skill as far as dexterity in WoW. There is managing your cooldowns, there's a lot to keep up with, but there's not like aiming or parrying like Dark Souls or maybe like Terra. It's just
Oh,
point at something, target it, and as long as you do your rotation, and you either hit or you don't hit based on luck, based on your gear, based on blah 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 blah. For an MMO, I would rather have that system because I feel like when it's more action oriented, I get more angry because I know that my skill or dexterity, I know I hit it, but I failed to hit because of the dice roll, and it feels
oh, and I
cheaper
see
to
that
me.
would piss me off.
Well, I mean, that's how I assume that's how New World is, right? There's got to be stats rolled into it. Like it's skill, but it's also your gear you're wearing. There's got to be a weighted roll happening behind the scenes.
I honestly don't know. I haven't really dug deep
So
on it yet.
can you explain that a little bit more? So let's say, so how would how would the stats affect if I was shooting a bow at something?
Yeah, so let's say like
Okay.
I'll give my understanding of it. I'm not a game dev, disclaimer, but so you have it. Let's say you're aiming a bow at something, and if your reticle is not on the target, we'll pretend that the bow there's no ballistics. We'll just pretend that for simplicity's sake, the
Hit
arrow
scan.
goes straight. Yeah, hit scan exactly. So if your reticle is not on the target, you miss. Easy, you're done. You missed. You didn't aim at the target. You didn't hit it.
Yep.
However, if your reticle's on the target, then let's say that gives you a base 90% chance to hit. And
Mhm.
so then it takes in your gear, and say you have a +5 on your bow. Now you're at a 95% chance to hit, but that enemy's 3 levels above you. That's a -12. So now you're at an
Oh,
83% chance to hit. And that's what I mean in the background. And it makes sense. I'm not saying those systems don't make sense, because if it was only skill based, then that would almost eliminate gear progression, which is a big reason, like I said, for people to come back to MMOs, and that's a big way to have player retention is to grind for gear and to try and get drops. If it was purely skill based, like if it's Counter Strike, the MMO edition, then I mean you're gonna have big discrepancies in player skill, which will piss people off. So
yep.
PvP will be a nightmare. But B, people won't stick around as long. So I guess I understand why they do it. I just feel cheapened because it would be like I equate it to like in Counter Strike to continue that example. Like I shot someone and I hit them in the head, and like it hit, like it did hit, but then there's like, oh well, you hit them, but their +3 helmet of cunning made it to where that wasn't a headshot. I'd be fucking
Uh-huh.
pissed. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no, fuck you. It's a skill based game. I hit you. And WoW, I don't feel cheated in a game like WoW because it doesn't have any illusion of being that skill based system. This is a gear check. This is like an old school RPG. This is all dice rolls, and I understand that going in. So I think it's probably just a mental block for me, but that's how I look at them.
No, I see your point there. That is definitely something, obviously, that I can get behind because I played WoW forever, and it was fun. You know, and I mean, it's the I played the last expansion too. What was it, Shadowlands?
Did you?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I've played every expansion,
my,
just
my.
about. Yeah.
I did
Huh.
too. I tanked it.
Oh,
Tanked the whole.
Shadowlands.
Yep, tanked the whole damn thing.
Damn. I
Tanking's pretty fun and well. I feel like that's something I've not seen in a lot of other MMOs. I don't know. Final Fantasy maybe does it right, but I feel like WoW does a pretty good job of, I guess, making all the archetypes have their niche or feel rewarding. Like you can do
yeah
healing and you can have fun
yeah
and have challenges. You can do tank and you
Yes,
can have
yeah
fun and have
they
challenges.
are they definitely
the
have that
roles
going for
matter.
them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess it just comes down to a game design thing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, they're class designers. Balance is one thing. Balance is a separate discussion, but the design and making it to where, you know, there isn't. I guess in the old days there was dead weight, like back maybe even in Wrath and BC, you would have encounters that if you brought more than 3 melee, you weren't going to beat the encounter because it was designed in such a way that was a conscious decision. You can say it's good or bad. I feel like they've shied away from that more recently to try and make sure every role has fun. And I
Mhm.
can field arguments from both sides. I can see mandating a certain way to beat an encounter makes you strategize around it. But at the same time, if you're the unlucky guy that rolled a rogue and rogues are useless on this encounter, then how are you? I mean, you feel kind of left out, right? No one's going to take you in their group. You're not going to be able to have experience it and have
Yeah.
fun
I
unless you roll
hate
another
when that shit
class.
sets up that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see why they've shied away from it more recently to make it, it makes it more casual, which that's fine. You got to People got to play your game. 10,000 people playing your game makes you far less money than 20 million people playing your game.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's what the heroic was it called? Heroic plus and the mythic levels are for. They're for the people who really want to dig in and min max everything and master the meta.
Yeah.
And all I ever did was heroic. I tanked it through heroic. Let's see, I tanked. I think Sardonathrius on heroic, and made it through and did
That's progressed content, right? I honestly don't remember. Is that like
yeah,
progress?
yeah.
Okay.
We progressed and did Sardonathrius, made it through heroic, got AOTC there, and then did Sylvanas. I did Sylvanas on normal, and then I was like, that's enough because so much work. Because again, I like the games, I'm not good at them. So much work to go into being able to do Sardonathrius on heroic.
Oh, you mean
That
like
I,
just tracking the fight and understanding it?
yeah, just studying the fight, changing my build, getting gear, running dungeons, running this, running that, getting all the shit up just so I could go and
Yeah.
get ahead of the curve once in a tanking role. That was my goal. I want to get ahead of the curve in a tanking role, and then let that be that, and we did, and I got it, and I was happy about it. It's like a little dopamine hit, cool. But
Well, so
I
what's
was
crazy?
not going to do that again for Sylvanas. No.
It's insane to me that you say that, and this is gonna sound like an insult. It's literally not, 100% not. So I'm assuming you use mods, right? Like I did. Most people use mods to help them in WoW.
Add-ons?
Sorry, yeah, add-ons. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I forgot they're
add-ons.
called that. But that's what I
Oh yeah,
meant. Use
yeah,
add-ons,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Add-ons, yeah,
threat tracker, blah blah blah.
yeah.
So
You have to.
well, exactly. So you have to, but even with those add-ons, which Blizzard allows, but they don't make, they're third-party people, so they don't
Mhm.
balance around the add-ons. So even with the add-ons helping you, you're like, there's so much to keep up with that I got to this point, and I just said that's enough. And that's not a knock against you. It's just like that just shows how much goes into those fights, like
Yeah.
how much
No.
people
Once again, I
expect.
am bad at these games.
Well, I mean, okay, good or bad. I was more meaning that's people expect a certain level of complexity that
Yeah.
you hit a point
Mm-hmm.
where even with all these add-ons to help you do stuff, it's still there's just so much. Even if you're good at it, that doesn't negate the amount of shit you're keeping up with. That just means you keep up with it better. The amount of
Yep.
shit's the same for everybody. It's just how you keep up with it.
It's just
And
you got so much shit happening on the screen, and you're like herding cats because you're tanking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right,
and you go here, you go there, and you're calling out because you have to use voice. People that's something that drove me mad was people that would get on there. They've never done the fight before, but they won't go in Discord, and so you can do call outs
they just wanted
because
to type, I guess.
yeah, okay, yeah. I'll just let me stop
You just
and
stop what I'm
type you
doing.
guys a message
Right.
while I'm tanking this motherfucker. Maybe somebody can do that. It's not me. It ain't
No,
me. I
that's a
can't do that.
recipe for disaster.
So we
Yeah.
just kick them, get them out. If you can't Discord, get out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I
That's
mean,
fair.
voice coordination's intense. I mean, I don't want to sidebar us, but it's like another example, even though it's not an MMO, is like League of Legends, right? It's like if you're playing
Yeah.
with 5 people and you're typing, even though they have like a ping system, if you're typing with these people, you're gonna play. Usually, all other things being equal, you're going to lose to a team that's on voice if your skill
Yep.
level's roughly the same because it's so much easier to convey information
Yeah, it's another
and you
channel.
don't have right, exactly. You don't have to take your hands off of it. Same thing in WoW. You got all this shit going on. You're trying not to die. You're trying not to do this. You don't have time. Even if you just type like the abbreviations, like you're probably gonna fuck something up. Or even if you don't fuck up, you're gonna play suboptimally while you're typing, and that's gonna lengthen the fight, or it's gonna cause this to
Yeah.
happen.
Think about it like you're in actual combat, but you have to stop and write a note to each other anytime you
Yeah,
need to communicate. What?
yeah, it's
Well,
asinine,
you guys are dead.
right?
That's akin to teenage girls texting when the light's obviously fucking green.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh,
Different podcast.
Different podcast, yeah, different time.
Driving habits. All you sons of bitches out there.
So you've
So
been playing. Go ahead. Sorry.
no. Sorry, no. Please.
I was gonna ask D about playing New World.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I heard I joined them on Mumble the other night or last night. It was last night, wasn't it? Damn,
Was
I
last night, yes sir.
I was on there for like 2.5 hours, and but yeah, just listening to them play the game and everything, and I mean it sounds fun. I want to try it. I really do. Just
It's
because
cheap enough. It's $40.
yeah, $40. Because I mean, when they first announced it, I've been keeping up with it, and waiting on it to come out and looking forward to it. You know, when they pushed it back the first couple of times, I understand why they pushed it back, and I'm okay with that. You know, better to push it back than release a shit game.
Right.
But I kind of lost interest after that. And
It happens.
yeah, it happens. So I mean, is it worth picking up? Is it worth $40
For
and some
$40?
time?
For
And no sub
$40,
fee, right?
Yeah, no sub, and that actually concerns me because it's like, okay, so how are they gonna feed
Monetize
the
it.
beast? How are they gonna feed
Yeah.
the beast, so to speak, right?
Right.
Well, so we know they got slammed because they were gonna put in pay to, like, literal pay to win. They didn't do it. I'll give them credit that they backed off. But we
Yeah.
know they were going to do that. And there was that huge uproar in the closed beta,
What were they?
I think.
What was
So
it?
Yeah,
they were,
eliminate them, yeah, because I was checked out during all that. I was like, I don't understand.
I don't
Whatever.
have like the specifics on the pricing, but they were going to put in basically battle packs, and it's a PvP based game as far as combat. Keep that in mind. And they were going to
Yeah.
put in stuff where you could buy it and literally get better gear or buffs in a PvP based game. So putting in cosmetics is one thing. Like if
Yeah.
you can buy them or you can't, it doesn't matter. But they were going to make people, and there's like a I can't intelligently speak to it because I don't play the game. But there's like a faction system within the game, and
Yep.
you can, if you rank up your factions, you get bonuses somehow. Like it helps you if your faction's a higher rank or if you're winning or whatever.
Yep.
So they were gonna have buffs to combat, but they were also gonna have something that makes your faction better. Like you could like buy tiers or something for your faction.
Oh shit!
So they
Yeah.
didn't do that. They backed up because the community thankfully went, "That's awful." Like it was almost a like united uproar. This is awful. And so they said, "Okay."
Why would they even try it?
Somebody that didn't play
man.
games, man.
Yeah,
Somebody
just
that did not
greed.
play games. Some fucking idiot in a suit was like, "Let me tell you what we all do." It was
Yep.
like, okay, but I think they're gonna get mad. It's like those stupid idiots will buy anything. It's like, yeah, they will, but they will also get pissed off and they will shit all over you on Twitter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you'll lose sales. Potentially.
So they
and
didn't.
then no one will buy it.
They didn't do that, but it's who's to say that they won't try again, right? Or try and ease back
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
it.
you
because
know it's in
they're-
an update. It's coming because they did not
They
throw
have to
all
have-
that away.
right, and they have to have a revenue stream. To your point, they don't have a
Right.
sub. They cannot subsist, and it's not even $60. So
Right.
they are not their parent company or their stakeholders or who the fuck ever, doesn't matter who, they are not going to allow, they're not going to continue to invest in that. This is a business that wants to squeeze money out of people. It's not
Sure.
about making happy fun time.
Nope.
So how are they
It's
going to
Amazon, for God's sake.
right? And that, I've heard that as an argument. You're not saying it, but I've heard that as an argument of, well, this is a loss leader for them. I'm like, for what?
No.
To get people to buy AWS? You fucking idiot! What do you think this is advertising for them?
They're gonna. It's gonna be part. Oh, I just realized it's gonna be part of your Prime sub.
Oh no, I bet you're right. I honestly didn't consider that. I've never
It'll
thought
be
that's
part
not
of your
entered my
fucking
mind
Prime
once.
sub. Hey,
Or if,
renew
or
your
if you
Prime
don't have
sub.
Prime, yep.
Now
yep.
yep. New
There
world.
you go. They have to do something. So
Oh,
God
maybe that'll
dang
get.
wait. Go back. What are you saying? Say it again.
They'll make it part of your Prime sub. They'll make it like if you re-up your your Amazon Prime sub, you get access to New World
Ah.
for no additional costs.
Or if you don't have Prime, it costs you $15, same price as all, or maybe even 10. Maybe they'll go a little cheaper.
Oh, they'll do some. They'll do like they'll math it out where it's only $10 cheaper to not have a Prime sub
Right. Yeah.
over the course of a year. Yeah.
over
there
a
you
course
go.
of a year. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do.
Fuck
Yep.
me. And
They've got it-
because I'm already on Amazon Prime, I'll link my Twitch account, which is also Amazon,
Yep.
and I'm good to go.
Yep.
Which,
I don't know.
you know
and
what?
Maybe
I'm fine with this.
maybe
do
this
it.
is the only thing I would consider is maybe like if you want to go the loss leader option, maybe because Amazon has money to blow. Maybe this is their foray into becoming a game publisher or a
Mhm.
game like development house. Not literally Amazon develops, but maybe they're going to start buying up devs and dev shops and
Mm.
start publishing games.
God
and maybe
knows
this
they
is their
can.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. And maybe this is
Well,
their foray. They don't care if it fails, right? It's not failed. It didn't fail. It's done reasonably well. It's not game of the century, but it's by no means a failure.
Nope.
So they've already proven that they can do it. People are still playing the game. I've heard it's dropped. I've heard player counts dropped, but it's still trending. I mean, well, maybe not trending. It's still pretty high up there on Twitch. I mean, I still see people playing it. They get like 5, 10,000 views if they're
I
popular.
don't know why
10,000
people
users.
watch someone else play this game. I really don't, because it's. I mean, I would
I think
much
it's for
rather
drops,
watch. Yeah. Okay,
honestly.
so yeah, think about this. Amazon owns Twitch, and they
Yep.
own New World, and they own Jesus. I don't
Yep.
know, a fifth of the nation's economy at this point,
I'm sure.
probably.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
It's absurd.
I'm a Prime subscriber.
Yep. Same
Oh yeah, I
here.
am too. Yeah, no, it's almost essential.
Yeah, it
They
just
get that
makes sense.
they get
I
that
buy so much
hundo a year
shit.
from my
Yeah,
dumb ass.
yeah.
Oh,
I buy so much shit off Amazon that I mean it pays for itself. It's a no
We're,
brainer.
we're the problem.
We are the problem. You're right.
so like let's talk. You say you enjoy it, but at the same time, you don't know why people want to watch it. So you're almost kind of agreeing
Because
with
I know what
my.
I am, right? I know
Well,
what I
yeah,
am. I'm an idiot that likes gathering and crafting, and that I know is boring to watch. It's like watching golf. It's like, yeah,
People watch cooking shows, but
hey,
I don't
hey,
think
watch
there's
Great
a lot of
British. Hey,
gamers.
Great British is a fucking prize. I will not hear any slander on that show.
Anna Garten is a national fucking treasure.
Yeah, her
Who's
too.
that? Who's that?
Shut up. Don't worry about it.
So, I mean, do we? How long do you think it's since you're the most experienced with the game, and by that I mean you're the only one out of the three of us that play it.
You're the only idiot sitting there playing stupid shit.
I mean, do you think you'll play it 6 months? Just guess. 6 months from now.
6 months?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't play it. I mean,
Well,
6
the first
months
thing I
is
was going to
like
say is it depends on who's in it with me. If everybody else has moved on, I'll move on too. Because ultimately, I play games to play with my friends, and if they're not feeling it, then I'll bail. I'll bail easy. Won't think nothing else about it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing stuff with my buddies, hanging out, relaxing, playing my games, and shit talking my friends in a game, then I'm not having a good time. So if there's not a consensus, there may be one or two. Like say I still love it, and three of my other friends love it, but we got one that's like New World. We'll drag him in. It's like fine, just fucking deal with it. That's what we did with Sea of Thieves. We had one who just like
So
I hate this game.
so there's not enough to pull you though. That was my question. You don't think there's enough in the game to
If it
pull
was just
you?
me by myself in a vacuum, I don't know. I haven't really made it that far. I've only made it to level 30. I don't know what the end game looks like, but if I had to guess, I'd say probably not. Probably
Okay.
not.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's about the community part of it, and then the community part of it is something I haven't got in with yet, because we're one of the the Marauder faction. We're the Green Boys, the fucking string beans, and so so there's an
is that
element
what
of
they call y'all?
community. Yeah, we all shit talk each other like
Oh,
there's
okay.
yellow,
I
purple, and
thought there
green.
was already like a moniker for the
Oh
Marauders.
well, we have a what do you call it? It's not a guild. They call it a company. You have a company. It's like a guild, and then you have a faction, which is a larger set of your faction, or whatever.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so it's faction, company, and then I guess group and party, who would be the smaller subsets. But so our faction, we're the Marauders. There's the Syndicate, and I can never remember the other one, because I mean, let's be honest, they're not worth remembering. They're not Marauders.
Slag.
Get them out of here.
Do you think? I know this is something we kind of wanted to talk about with MMOs in context, and I want to ask it now. Do you think this is the style of game? Like, if you just this is opinion piece. Obviously, none of us can predict the future, and we're not game
Sure.
developers. Do you think MMOs and the game design, like the philosophy of MMOs or multiplayer games like this, do you think it's going to trend more towards a new world where it's very? It seems like you can play very passively. Like there's, maybe not if you look at it from the outside in, not a lot to do or not a lot of
Mhm.
structured content to do. Do you think this is more of the future, given how popular like survival games are, or open-ended like building games like Valheim or Rust or
Oh,
those
see,
type of
I
games?
loved Valheim. God, I love that game.
A lot of
God.
people do. So open-ended games like that for me are hard. I need a little. Well, so hold on, let me finish my thought. So do you think this is the direction MMOs are going, to where they're a little more open-ended, or
Seems
do you
that
think
way,
that
doesn't it?
it kind of does? And I like there's the very structured, like not to say WoW isn't open-ended in the sense that there's a fuck ton of content to do. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
fucking
Yeah,
content,
but it
but
is
it's
still on
structured.
a rail. You know,
Yep, yep.
it's
It's
very
it's a,
linear.
it's
Yeah.
it's an experience. They're telling you, like they're guiding you through the
Oh, they're
experience.
telling you a story, man. WoW
Yep.
is, better or worse, it is about the story and telling the story,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciate. I think maybe up to Shadowlands they had an okay story going. We won't get into that, but
So you do think that maybe there's more of a shift towards the New World style, very open-ended, not structured.
maybe, and that kind of makes me sad because I love a good story. I do love a good
It
story.
makes me sad because it makes shovelware easier, and I'm not trying to be
Yes.
elitist when I say that, but when you don't
Explain what you
have to
mean by
structure.
Yeah,
shovelware.
explain that.
All right, so shovelware, the term usually like it's just dog shit. Like it's kind of like you're just throwing
We'll
shit
just
out
call it
there.
dog shit.
It is dog shit. So you're throwing stuff out there. You have no idea what you're doing when you design it. It's bare minimum. It's not cohesive, and it's a cash grab, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things that open-ended games that don't have a story allow it for better and worse, allow indie devs and allow people that are not committed to making a product or that aren't good at it, they can get a product out there. Because when you have to have a cohesive story in general,
Shit,
you have
it's
to have
hard.
writers, right? You have to tie things together. You have to design things better, writer. And now that's not to say shitty story games don't exist. There's a metric fuck ton of them.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's a
if you
reason for
look,
that. It's because writing a story is fucking hard.
yeah.
Go just
But
sit down. Just sit down and write you a big 200-page story.
right, no big deal. Just crank it out
Yeah.
overnight and
Give
make it a bestseller.
give that a go.
It's still. If you look at a game platform, like MMOs or not, look at Steam. There's so many carbon copies of like open world survival games like Rust or The
Yep.
Forest or Valheim. And again, it's because there's a lower barrier of entry to make the game. Now, will your game be good? No, it will not. And no one will fucking play it. But I think that if the market shifts towards that, I think overall it will eventually, if it keeps that going that direction, it will water down the quality overall. And game studios will not have to put as much effort into it. So they won't, because they're businesses. And it you could conceivably get into a situation where, the popular game type for MMOs is this open world, and if you don't like it, tough shit. And we realize, oh, all of this is copy pasted from New World 6 years ago. The year's 2027. What have we fucking done?
Right.
So you're
I
saying
think I
are you
think
saying
they.
New World is the new gold standard?
No, I'm not saying that.
Hell no.
I'm saying that if it shifts towards that style, I think it will be a detriment overall. And that's not. I'm not saying that style cannot be popular. I'm not saying it can't be people's favorite thing ever. I just think it opens the door to shit product more
Yeah.
than
More
the
shovelware.
other. Exactly. Yeah, I really, I really think that's the case.
Oh man. I mean, there's a lot of people that like a good story. I see your point though, now that I think about it. Because I mean it would be easier to pump out more shit, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have people playing it.
No,
I mean,
I think
the people are going to be drawn to the game that interests them the most. I mean, they may play some of the shit, garbage games that come out for a little bit, but they'll come and go. And I mean, game developers may make a little money off of it because they haven't put that much money into it to begin with. So there'll be a lot of that shit, and the market will definitely be saturated. But I think, the bulk of the people are still going to be returning to or putting more time and effort into the games that give them something a little more than just, you're like building the fucking barn and then living in it and doing that kind of shit.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so fun though.
Like it evidently
I mean,
it
thing I built.
resonates. It resonates with people for a lot of reasons. There are people that enjoy building. There are people that like the open-endedness. They like to create their own story in their head. They like
Sure.
to, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
valid. I
That
do
is
think it's
valid.
I think it's kind of a flash in the pan hipster kind of thing these days, and I think some of that's because the OG kind of open-ended survival like Minecraft or all the clones that have come out, they're really popular with younger kids, but also adults too. I think they're popular because they are, even though people know life them and play them a lot, there is you can play for as little or long as you want, and there's no
Mhm.
time commitment. There's no like feeling of
There's no
losing out
FOMO.
if you quit. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no FOMO, and there's no like, oh, I don't remember the story because I haven't played in 3 months. Fuck this game. It's you can pick it up and play it. Everything's the same. Like maybe there's a content update and there's a new weapon, but you can still get back in there and play it. And I think for some reason that's really popular now. I think it'll ebb because fads always change. I think this style of game people will burn out eventually. It'll probably always be popular, but I think it'll
Mhm.
burn out eventually. Like in the 90s, platformers and third person action were like the thing. And they're still popular now, but they're not as popular as they were then.
Sure.
So I think it'll, it's a cycle like everything
It's
else.
what
Yeah.
the technology allows to a degree too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that for sure.
So the next thing will be like VR MMOrpg.
Oh, I bet
Man,
that'll make building
that's
have a
neural
resurgence
linked.
though.
God.
Yeah.
Like
I'm so
you
in.
don't actually have to move your fat ass. You just have
I'm,
to, neural link that shit and go.
I'm
Oh,
so
we Wally
in.
now, huh?
Yeah, no, what was that anime where people got trapped in there?
Oh, Sword Art Online. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was thinking
we
because you said
Sword Art.
your fat ass doesn't have to move. I imagine Wally
I was
with the
talking about
people
my
in their
fat
chairs.
ass more than anybody. They set me down, put the neural link on me, let me go into into Elfheim or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
do my thing. Yeah, hell yeah, that'd be man.
Man, I would sign up. That'd be fucking baller.
That'd be a
Fuck
dopamine
yeah,
hit from
dude.
hell, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
I'm so down with that. I can't wait for Neuralink to become mainstream and allow me to
Stuff scares
actually
the shit out
plug
of me.
into a fucking game. I don't care. I just
Scares,
I'm
it
gonna
scares me
wait.
so
I'm gonna
much.
wait for you early adapters to have seizures and die.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. If I could just fly, I just want to fly.
Oh man, wouldn't that be something? To actually feel it,
To feel
like
it.
to feel flying.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool.
Yeah, God, that would be mind bending.
Just be able to do. Well, I mean, it's everybody's dream. Do whatever you want to, with no real consequences.
Yeah, I think
Then the
we're still a
simulation gets
ways.
reset.
Yeah.
Right. I think we're still a ways off from that because VR today
We
is really
are, for
cool.
sure.
Don't get me wrong, but it's far from what we're talking about.
Far.
So-
yeah.
So far.
I hope I
they'll
see
have
it,
it. I
you know?
think they'll have it before we're gone though. We'll be like 75, 78. Get
I'll
drunk
be
and
old
sit
enough.
down on me.
Yeah, I'll be old enough
Yeah.
not to give a shit about my body, whether or not I die. I'll be like, yeah, okay, let's get hooked up.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm going
it's
in.
true.
Put me in the Matrix. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I'll get back in. My dick will be hard again.
Like, oh, this thing hadn't worked in 38 years.
Look at that.
Can't wait. I'll be fucking everything that moves.
Look, it's
Wait.
an elf. Come here, you.
Wake up, look like fucking Randy from South Park. Slimed. It's a ghost.
And on that note,
Yeah. On that note, we'll call it tonight. Thanks for listening, everyone. It was a good casual night. Nothing.
we'll be
too
back
deep,
to
too
the
serious.
existential dread. Will return next week.
We'll
Don't
be
worry.
back to make you feel like shit next week.
Maybe.
Maybe. But thanks for listening. And I'll be posting this episode on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
BitChute,
YouTubes.
YouTube,
Shoot.
Gab,
The YouTubes.
We have our own Reddit. We subreddit. We were
Reddit.
accepting Reddit admins or Reddit mods.
Yeah, Reddit
applications are
Reddit
open.
mods on show tiles.
Oh my god.
All right, it's been fun, y'all.
Alright.
Thanks again.
Yeah, good night.